Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Cutler here on the Let's Talk to Cutler platform, the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast or podcast or whatever we're calling it these days. I'm so glad. I'm excited about being here. It's another Tuesday. It's already August the 10th, and I'm so glad to be here. So glad to see that some of you are already joining me. Do me a favor. If this is your very first time, let me tell you what this channel is all about. Just in case it's your first time, this channel is about inspiration, motivation, challenging us to show up a little bit better tomorrow than we did today. No, it doesn't mean that today was all bad. It doesn't mean that today was a wash, but it means that we are now taking about 1,800 seconds to see if we can pick up some nuggets to move into tomorrow so we can show up just a little bit better. It's about progression. It's about self-improvement. It's about self-help. It's about being in this thing together so that we can have some sort of accountability and responsibility for just making ourselves better. Every day is about about evolving and about becoming stronger. And that's why we take these few moments. So I am so thankful whenever you all show up. I appreciate it. Listen, if this is your first time to my channel, make sure that you subscribe. If this is your second, third, fourth, fifth time to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. And then after you subscribe, click on the notification bell. It lets you know whenever I've gone live, whenever I've uploaded new content. Come on. I want to ask you all this, though. What I tend to start with is a challenge question or just something that makes you go, to just sort of to trigger your thoughts. I want to ask you all this. Have you ever met people who baffle you? People that you can't seem to understand no matter how hard you try. I mean, you don't understand why they say the things they say, why they talk to people, why they act the way they act. You all, what do we do? How do we handle people? How do we handle people like that? People who just make us shake our head sometimes. I want to talk about all that, and I'll talk about it as soon as I come back. But before I come back, do me a favor. Go ahead and share this channel. Let people know that, hey, Cutler's on the air, and he's only here for 1,800 seconds. Tell them, hey, come on, let's talk to Cutler. I'll be right back.
Let's talk to Cutler. One more thing, like, subscribe and share. Come on, let's talk to Cutler.
I have to tell you all this. As you all were checking into the room while the intro was playing, I was dancing and looking at the intro and looking at you all coming in the chat room. This big smile, can I tell you, this big smile came across my face because I'm so glad to see all of you. I really, really am. But again, if you haven't done so, do me a favor. Go ahead and do a thumbs up on the conversation. But y'all, go ahead and share this and tell somebody you got 1,800 seconds. Maybe not now. They got a few, fewer than 1,800 seconds, but tell them you got time. Come on, let's talk to Cutler. But let me shout out the LTTC VIPs for the evening. Thank you all so much. LTTC VIPs are the people who just get to the chat room first. I mean, the race is on. So I want to say hi to Annie Cutler. She says, let's ride. Linda Martin says, good evening. No ticket required for the ride. That's right, Linda. You tell them no ticket is required. All they need to do is just check in, sign in, and just come on. And then Natural Diva says, good evening, everyone. It's so good to see all of you. Let me tell you what we're doing, just in case this is your first time, just in case you just happen to meander by this channel one day. What we've been doing for the past almost year now is reading quotes from this book, Billboards to Better, 366 Daily Sources of Motivation and Inspiration Along the Highway of Life. It's about reading these billboards, these quotes for each day. And as we read the quotes for each day, we'll give them application to see what they mean. How can we apply them to our lives? Because it's a sort of pick-me-up for each day. Now, there are 366, one for leap year, and then there's some bonus quotes in the back of this book. Let me tell you why I know so much about this particular book. Just in case this is your first time, just in case you didn't know, I wrote this book. It's my 7th book. It's available over on Amazon.com, or you can go to my website, www.gbcutler.com, and pick it up. You don't need the book to join the conversation, but it helps, because on Tuesdays, we'll read the quote from Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We'll chat about it. And then on Thursdays, you all know we'll read the quote from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You all probably know this already about heart. And when we get to the quote for Saturday, you all listen. It's all day your way. Do whatever you want to with the quote. Use it to start a conversation. Use it as a part of your meditation, but use it. Let me know if you have enjoyed our conversations over the past year. Let me know if any of these quotes have really helped you, if any of these billboards have really encouraged you. I know I'm always encouraged when I see your comments. I'm always encouraged whenever you show up. So I want to say thank you. Whatever space you've allowed me, you understand you've allowed me to come into your space. So thank you for sharing that, whether it's your living room. And I say it, I know you all hear me say it, and sometimes it seems tongue in cheek, but you all have allowed me to come into your homes, your space, your living room, your family room, your dining room, your kitchens, wherever you are. You've allowed me to come there. So I don't want to disrespect that space or dishonor that space. Thank you so much for sharing that space with me. I hope I do right and do well by you. All right, I want to go to our quotes for August the 8th, which was Sunday. I'm going to go to the quote for August the 8th, which was a Sunday. I'm so glad to see all of you all. I really, really am. I almost just want to call everybody's name, but I'll be, here talking forever. I want to tell you all this though. This is just to update you about what's going on in the life of Cutler. Some of you know that I sustained an injury a couple years ago, and then after that injury, I walked on. I broke my foot, and then after breaking my foot, I had to go back a year later because they didn't completely repair it correctly. So I had to go back and have my ankle reconstructed, the whole ankle reconstructed. So I have titanium rods holding my ankle together, all that kind of stuff. So I have not been able to run since September of 2017. I haven't been able to run since September 2017. But what I've done lately is to start walking. So I walk 2.5 miles every day now. Can I tell you all that I ran for a block yesterday. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a whole lot to some of you, but it's when you've not been able to run since 2017, and then to be able to run, I am so thankful for that opportunity. All right, so that's just my little pick me up. So you all just, hey, share in my moment, delight in my moment to be able to run after not being able to run since 2017. I'm happy about that. I'm also happy, you all help me out here. I'm also happy that Mick Diana has joined us, I believe, for the first time. Hi, from Diana, former DMV resident. You all do me a favor. Go ahead. Thank you. She says, congratulations. You all do me a favor. Please make sure that you reach out and say hi to, make sure that you reach out and say hi to Mick Diana, who's joining the chat. You go 6 days. You go 6 miles most days. Good for you. I'm going to try to get up to that. So I thank you for the encouragement. I appreciate it. I'm going to try to do the same thing. But you all, please say hi to Mick Diana and make her feel good about coming on in the room. All right. And then go ahead and thank you all. Thank you so much. Misha Allen. Misha, let me know if this is your first time. I think I've seen you before, but if not, let me know. But you all, please say hi to both of them. Make them feel good about joining the chat. All right. Thank you. You all are my fellow passengers. We're riding along this highway together, you all. And each and every day, even when we leave this space, every day, make sure that you find somebody to take along with you to a space and a place that's called better. I know we share these 1,800 seconds every day, and I'm going to get to the quotes in just a moment, but I just feel led to say this and to share this with you from my heart. I'm telling you all, every single day, when you get a chance to take somebody to a space and a place that's called better, take full advantage of that opportunity. It's more than just a book. It's more than just a platform, but it ought to be the mantra of our lives to say, I'm going somewhere, and I'm going somewhere worth going. You see, when you're not going anywhere worth going, you really don't want to take anybody with you. You don't have the motive to take anybody with you. But when you know you're heading someplace, and you're heading someplace worth going, you don't want to go there by yourself. Have you ever wanted to go to a concert or an event or a party and you said, oh, the next time I come, I've got to take so-and-so? Am I the only one? You've gone to an event before, you've gone to a place before, you've gone on vacation before, and as soon as you got back or as soon as you got there, you said, I can't wait to take somebody along with me. When you know that you're going to a space that's called better, when you're going to a place of elevation, a place of stronger, a place of victory, a place of conquer, a place of wiser, you don't ever want to get there alone because you know it's worth getting to. All right. So I just wanted to put that out. That's what we're talking about these days. Tomorrow, when y'all see somebody, you say, I'm going to this space that's called better. Come on and go along with me. Just want to put that out there. Let me get to the quote, because you all know from time to time I go off and I don't mean to. All right. August 8th, the quote says this: if you can't feed others as you follow, go to the end of the line so no one will have to follow you. If you can't feed others as you follow, go to the end of the line so no one will have to follow you. Let me just give you a little bit of the backstory, the backdrop, and tell you really what that means to me. When I was in high school, several years ago, when I was in high school, many years ago, I was a member of an honors organization that was called the Beta Club. Let me know if you all have ever heard of the Beta Club. And the motto of the National Beta Club is lead by serving others. Lead by serving others. And what that meant was that if you really want to be considered a leader, then we should learn how to help somebody else. It also meant that leaders had a certain degree of humility. It wasn't about the limelight, it wasn't about the spotlight, but they had a certain degree of humility. And as I got older, I carried the mantra of the Beta Club with me, but I tweaked it just a little to say, yeah, lead by serving, but serve while leading. Somehow, you all, I just remember that you don't forget about people. Nowhere in your life journey should you forget about people. When you recognize that you are a part of the human experience, you don't forget about people. Let me say that again. When you realize and understand that you are part of this thing called humanity and the human experience, you don't forget about people. And nothing that they go through should ever be so foreign or so distant or so unfamiliar that you can't relate to them. I didn't say that you had to necessarily relate to their experience, but you ought to be able to relate to their heart and to their soul. Cutler, how could you say that? Why could you say that? Because I may have never had my house burned down in a fire, but I know what it feels like to experience loss. I may have never been wounded in combat, but I know what it feels like to be in agonizing pain. I know what fear feels like. I know what anxiety feels like. I know what depression feels like. I know what disappointment feels like. I know what peace feels like. I know what joy feels like. There is no experience that is so foreign or so distant or so unfamiliar that it removes my ability to relate to the heart and the soul of my brothers and my sisters. Let's not ever be so removed from people that we can't connect to their hearts, you all. That's why I appreciate about this space, because there's something about a connection that we make. I know you're in your homes, you're in your space, but there's something about a connection that we make. Why? Because you've invited me into that space and I don't take it for granted. That's why this lesson speaks to us tonight. If you can't feed others as you follow, go to the end of the line so no one will have to follow you. Have you ever met people who managed to succeed and they managed to overcome, but they don't want to help anybody else? People who are being helped or who have ever received help ought to be the first people in line to help somebody else. Leaders who are leading should never forget that they are really serving. I've met so many leaders, you all. I've met so many leaders these days in all kinds of arenas who are more interested. They seem more interested in having the spotlight shine on them rather than finding a flashlight to help somebody else find their way out of a dark situation. That's what leaders do. Leaders are less concerned about the limelight and the spotlight that shines on them, and they are more concerned about taking a flashlight and helping somebody else out of a dark situation. That's a leader. May I remind us all this evening that we are all leaders. That's it, Diane. Always got to treat those who follow us well. I want to remind us all that we're leaders, you all, in our own rights, in our own respects. We are leaders. And may I tell you that you are a leader even when you think you're just following? Why, Cutler, would you say that? Because somebody is watching you. Somebody is watching you. What is the motivation? What is the inspiration? What is the challenge for us tonight, then, Cutler, as you read this quote? Let us model for those who are following us. Let's model for them, you all, what humanity really looks like. It looks like leading. It looks like serving while leading. So the goal, the challenge, let's learn how to lead and follow at the same time. Something to think about. If you can't feed others as you follow, go to the end of the line so no one will have to follow you. Because somebody's looking at you, somebody's reading your life. Somebody is following, somebody is marking your behavior. They're ready to imitate your pattern. You're leading. Learn to feed while you're leading and while you are following. All right, I want to go into the next quote. If you're wondering, wow, where did that quote come from? It came from this book right here, Billboards to Better, 366 Daily Sources of Motivation and Inspiration Along the Highway of Life. Did I tell y'all this is my 7th book? Well, it is. I want to go to the quote for August 9th. The quote for August 9th says this, you all. Your attitude about what you give is more important than the size of your gift. Your attitude about what you give, it's more important than the size of your gift. You all can guess. If you had to sum up the theme of this quote, you all know it's about motive. This particular quote is all about motive. Have you ever met people? Here we go. Have you ever met people who remind you of the saying? And I'm going to fall back on my Southern vernacular and my Southern colloquialisms, but have you ever found people who remind you of the saying that common sense ain't so common? I'm talking about people, you all, who just don't seem to have a sense of decorum for navigating life. Have y'all ever met people like that? I'm talking about people who don't care about anything or anybody. Talking about people who will, Cutler, I've got to say it. I'm talking about people, you all, who will talk with you one day and they'll talk about you tomorrow. I'm talking about people, you all, people who have good paying jobs, sometimes married with children, driving on the highway, sometimes with college degrees, but don't seem to have the common sense that God gave an earthworm. Y'all know that's country. But have you ever met people like that, you all? Ever met people who just make you shake your head, people who just make you scratch your head and you wonder, where did they come from? Have you ever met people who whenever you hear them speak, you have to ask them, why would you say that? Or when they do certain things, you have to ask them, why would you do that? Somebody asked me, where can you find my book? By the way, you can find it on Amazon.com, or you can just go to my website. There it is, www.gbcutler.com, and find it. Okay, so you can find the book either of those places. But I mean, so we're talking about meeting these people, you all, who just make you ask them whenever they speak, why would you say that? Why would you do that? You all know this, right? Common sense ain't so common. And you're right. You can't teach people common sense. The older I've got, I have to tell you all this though. The older I have gotten, the more I find myself questioning people's motives more than I question their behavior. I'm more interested in people's motives these days more than I am their behavior. I've gotten to the point where I question their motives more than I question their words. Motives are important to me because what do? They fill in the gaps for the times when I misinterpret your words and your deeds. And I don't want to be found guilty of misinterpreting your words or misinterpreting your actions or your deeds. So I will ask you, what did you mean? Why did you say that? Why did you do that? Because motives will fill in the gaps for the moments when people will misinterpret our words, our actions, and our deeds. And here's where I want to challenge and motivate us this evening. Be willing to share your motives. Why do I say that? Because motives will connect you to somebody's heart quicker than it will their mind. Motives are important, you all, because motives make it easier to forgive. I didn't say they make it easy, but they make it easier to forgive when I understand your motives. They make it easy to start all over. They make it easier to try again. They make it easier to reconcile. One of the things that I do understand when it comes to motives is this, though, you all. Motives will make you feel vulnerable. They make you feel vulnerable to the possibility of pain and the possibility of rejections. If I share the motives of my heart, you might hurt me if you get that. You might mishandle me. You might reject me. But let me tell you all Cutler's stance on life these days, you all. I've decided that I would rather be vulnerable and forgiven than misunderstood and disconnected. Let me say that again. I've got to the place where I don't mind sharing my motives because people might misunderstand and disconnect from me. But I'd rather take a chance on the pain and rejection and tell you my motives. So that way I understand I'm vulnerable to the possibility of pain and rejection. But it also opens me to the probability of redemption and reconciliation. So I'd rather be vulnerable and forgiven and redeemed and reconciled. I'd rather go through that than to be misunderstood and disconnected. There are reasons behind everything that we do, everything that we say, every decision we make, every action we take. There's a reason behind it. There's a reason behind even the tone of voice that we choose. That's why I don't give, this is just Cutler. You all tell me what you think as well, you all. I don't give a lot of leeway to people who say, especially not grown folk, not now. Yeah, I'm closer to 60 than I am to 50. And let me tell you one of the things that I've started doing in life, you all. I don't give a lot of leeway to people who say I wasn't thinking in that moment. Not grown folk, not people in my age bracket or older. I don't give a lot of leeway to people who say I just wasn't thinking in the moment. No. You were thinking. And the problem is there was a motive behind what you did and how you did it, and you got checked on it. Y'all learn to call people to the carpet when they mishandle you, when they mistreat you. Be able to stand in the place of a motive checker. I wish I could teach the whole world one of the things that I've always taught my students. I remind them, count to 3 before you speak. Count to 3 before you speak. And they just say, why, Professor Cutler? And I'll say, well, 1, it makes you look smarter. I would tell them that. But another reason why I would tell them that, y'all, is because it gives you a chance to consider the impact that your words are about to have on your audience. Think before you speak. Think before you react. Think before you respond. People want to say things that I wasn't thinking. No, you were thinking. You just didn't think that you would get checked on your motives. Call people out. That's right, Trey. You've got to call people out. Don't let people mishandle you. Because if they mishandle you today, they'll do it tomorrow. And if you allow people to mishandle you, then those who you are leading will think that it's okay. You will model for them that it's okay to be mishandled, and it's not. We have children and grandchildren and nieces and nephews and great nieces and great nephews who are watching us, you all. Let's not model for them that it's okay for them to be mishandled and disrespected. It is not okay. And a lot of the times we have inherited that behavior because somebody modeled it for us, and we thought that's what being meek and humble was all about. Meekness is not to be considered for weakness. You learn to stand in the space and the place that says, no, I know who I am. And it is not arrogant, it is not conceit, but it's about understanding self-value to say, you're not going to get away with talking to me like that. You're not going to get away to responding and behaving towards me like that. Absolutely not. Why would you say that? Why would you do that? Y'all, I'm telling you. Call people on the carpet. Check. Somebody put in the chat. Aretha said, you better think. Well, I love that song. Think about what you're trying to do to me. Yeah, I could go on with the words, but I don't know if YouTube would just ding me for quoting her whole song. But yeah, you all make people think, and then not only make people think, you all, but let us think as well. All right. Got to hold them accountable. You all are right. I'm loving your comments. I'm loving the chat. You all, and if you want to, what color, what did you get that quote from? Your attitude about what you give is more important than the size you give. I got it from this book right here, Billboards to Better. I got it from this book. Let's go on to the quote for August 10th, which is today's date. Let's go into the quote for August 10th and see how we can sort of unpack that, peel back some of the layers. Because I only have 1,800 seconds, you all. This quote says, don't let somebody else's distraction, oh my God, don't let somebody else's distraction delay your deliverance. Don't let somebody else's distraction delay your deliverance. I love that. Somebody said, right, words have power and weight to them. They do. They do, you all. So this quote, don't let somebody else's distraction delay your deliverance. You all, imagine if you were sitting, I'm trying to pull this story together. Imagine if you were sitting on the doorsteps of I'm going to be very strategic when I use these words, of a church or a temple or a synagogue. Imagine if you were sitting on the doorsteps there. Imagine that you are hungry. Imagine that you are homeless and that you are in poor health. Now imagine that someone who can help you comes by on a Tuesday morning. But before they can feed you or give you clothing or offer you some medical help, someone runs out of the building and says, we don't help folk on Tuesdays. Well, huh? You don't help people on Tuesdays? I wonder what your response would be. Now, there you are, homeless, hungry, and in bad health. You're just sitting there. Somebody who comes there who can help you, they're about to offer you help, and somebody runs out and says, no, we don't help folk on Tuesdays. We're closed down for helping. I wonder what your response would be. What would you say? What would you do? How would you react? I'm sure that most of us, as hungry and in poor health as we might be, I'm sure that most of us would muster up enough strength, even if we had to pull it from the bottom of our pinky toe, and tell those people to mind their business and leave yours alone. Right? Some of us might even use some other choice words, but I can't talk. I'm not going to use those. I don't use those. I'm not going to use those here. But I know some of us would use some choice words, and we would tell people. As a matter of fact, you would probably take ownership of that time and that space that belongs to you, and you would tell those people to mind their business and leave yours alone. Right? Some of us may say some other things. Don't put it in the chat. Don't say what you would say. But how many of you will find strength to say something? Tell people that no, this space belongs to me. You ain't got nothing to do with this. This is my moment of healing, my moment of deliverance. You ain't got nothing to do with this. Mind your business. That's what this quote is all about, you all. Don't let other people's issues and distractions, don't let them delay, deny, don't let them do it or deter your deliverance, your victory, or your success, or your don't let them deter your overcoming, your crossing the finish line, or your reaching your goal. Do you not know that other people can distract your deliverance and your victory? If some of us would be honest, this is called core soul searching for me. If some of us would be honest, one of the reasons why we have not obtained some of the things that we want in life is because we allowed other people's distractions, other people's opinions, other people's influences, other people's impacts to matter more than they should have. We would tell them that. We would say, I see what y'all saying. This is an A and B conversation. See your way. That's right. But you all, am I the only one? Some of the reasons that I don't have some of the things in life that I would otherwise want. I mean, I have to thank God for my blessings. Yes, I do. But some of the reasons why some of us have not obtained things or attained things is because we let other people's distractions and opinions and influences matter more than they should have. We often hear this quote. Y'all, listen, I got to go in a minute, but let me just say this. We often hear this quote that says, to everything, there's a time and a place under the sun. We hear to everything, there's a time and there's a season. But sometimes when we start doing a good thing or we start doing a good work, working out a way, when you start doing stuff, distractions will come. And think about that quote that we often hear, to everything there's a time and a season. But I want to remind you all this evening that there's a time and a season for your success. There's a time and a season for you to smile after you've been crying. There's a time and a season for you to experience joy after you've experienced sadness and sorrow. There's a time and a season for you to experience peace after you've dealt with chaos. There's a time and a season for you to experience happiness when you've dealt with gloom, doom, despair, misery. I want to encourage you and admonish you not to give away your season and your time that belong to you. Don't you give away your season and your time for success, your time for victory. Don't give it away, you all. Don't let other people's distractions steal the space and the time that belongs to you. And just in case I have color, what do I do? May I suggest to you, if you have done that, if you have given it away, may I empower you to take it back. May I encourage you. May I admonish you that just in case you've given away the time and the season and the space that belongs to you, I want to offer you the words of one of my favorite, all-time favorite congresspersons. In her words, she simply said, I'm reclaiming my time. Just want to remind you all, in case you've given away your authority, your power, your time, your space, may I suggest to you, may I offer you the power to use this phrase, I'm reclaiming my time. Don't let other people's distractions delay your victory, your deliverance, your success, your overwhelming fortune and your blessings. All right? And then make sure that your attitude, that we have the right motives. And then, of course, make sure that we walk in humility and always be willing to connect to the hearts of men and women everywhere. You all, thank you so much for sharing this time. Thank you so much for sharing this space. I wanted, may I share with you this? I want to close by sharing one of my poems. Again, I've written 7 books. I don't know how many poems I've written, to be honest. But I want to close by sharing this poem with you. It's in my second book, which is also available on Amazon. It's called Thoughts Keep Flowing. The poem says, the title is You Make My Life Worthwhile. No D on that. When I'm overwhelmed, you promised to lead me to a rock that's higher than I. When I am sad and in dismay, you told me if I endure the night, the sun will shine for me. I trust you. I believe you. I take you at your word. I know that you love me. I know just what I heard. You'll give me the strength I need. You'll make sure that I succeed. You make my life worthwhile. I'm so glad that we're living and leading lives that we know are worth living. We are on our way to a space that's worth going, and we're not going alone. Join me here every Tuesday and Thursday for these 1800 seconds, because we are on our way to a space and a place that's called better. I thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for inviting me into your space. Do me this favor, y'all. Let's continue building community. Let's keep on maintaining connectivity. Let's keep our heads up and keep our hopes up. Let's keep our expectations great. Do me another favor, you all. With this Delta variant out there, make sure that you stay safe. Don't let people run you crazy, and stay sane. All right. From my heart to yours, please know that there is and always will be so much love. I'll see you all Thursday. Good night.